to present Mitchell Perey, talking about drug-free pain management. Okay, do your thing. He'll speak about history and theory, and his background is as a hypnotist. And he'll request volunteers from the audience who suffer from chronic pain, such as arthritis, migraine, or back pain, and help them reduce their pain level substantially right here in front of everybody. Now this amused me, but it's not a joke. He received his first certification from ACHE, A-C-H-E, which is the American Continuing Education
Council of Hypnotist Examiners.
You tell him. But I don't want to take up his time because he has so much to share with us. Mitchell Perey.
Good morning. Mitchell Perey is my name. My interest in hypnosis began as a preteen when I read my first book about it, and it was a fascinating subject, as it continues to be. And later in life, which was in the late 1980s, I was hurt in an automobile accident. And a time came after the accident when I was personally really concerned about the continuous use of narcotics. And in the newspaper, there was an ad for a weekend course on self-hypnosis for various purposes, one of which being pain relief. And in the first class, a very simple procedure was done by one of the two hypnotherapists that were teaching, and I needed no more pills. And it's just amazing to imagine the scope that hypnotherapy can cover or help with, or the degree that people can help themselves, because all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. That means when you've got a practitioner such as me hypnotizing people, I'm a guide allowing them or encouraging them to hypnotize themselves. And hypnosis has been known of and used for not centuries but millennia. Maybe since time began, people have been taking advantage of this particular state of mind, which typically brings about deep relaxation and an altered state of consciousness. And this altered state is what's known as a trance. There are different types of trances, different causes of trances, but the person in a trance is ordinarily, or in a deeply focused state, is unusually responsive to an idea or image, which are suggestions that people use, which of course are the only suggestions that bear on the goal they have in mind. Now, this doesn't mean that a hypnotist can control a person's mind or free will. That's not possible. But hypnosis can teach people how to master their own states of awareness, and by doing so, they can affect their own bodily functions and psychological responses. Now, what I'm going to be doing today is talking a little more about hypnosis and hypnotherapy, giving you a few examples from my own personal experience, and subsequently hypnotize people here that would like to be hypnotized. Also, particularly people that are in pain, preferably chronic pain, and we will do short, simple procedures in order to reduce the level of suffering. Pain is a signal through the nerves. There's lots of signals through the nerves. Pain is one which helps a great deal when we need it, and it's one that can cause a great deal of suffering when we don't need it. Why do we have it when we don't need it? Habits happen. It's easy for the body to learn from repetition. Like when we were in a play. Was anybody ever in a play? Have a part in a play in school or later on? And you know that these words that you're going to say, you're going to repeat them until you can say them, right? Well, in your system, and some of what I'm going to tell you is kind of theoretical, maybe my ideas about things or other people's ideas, and there may be no scientific proof of a lot of this, but we have our conscious mind, which is what we're using now, which is critical, analytical, and makes decisions, and we have our subconscious or internal self or internal child or whatever you care to call it. And when they taught us that we only use about 10% of our brain, I don't know where they came up with that, but I can imagine if this surface is using maybe up to 10%, what's left in a tremendous amount, which is running everything, our autonomous nervous system, it's running everything, and mentally, on this level of consciousness we're using now, we can't affect or deal with much of that. I mean, we can imagine that our blood is rushing through our body, and it's doing things. There are transactions taking place where things go into cells, come out of cells, and these are chemical reactions, these are magnetic, electrochemical. Nobody knows what's going on, but there's millions or billions or gazillions of repeated activities that keep our bodies working, that keep us running. So we get to keep breathing, and our heart keeps beating, and we don't think about it. And our subconscious is making everything work, and our subconscious is not critical, and it does not make decisions. Our subconscious isn't going to say, oh, I think I'll slow down the breathing now because I'm sitting here relaxed. It just happens. Because you are relaxed, that follows. And so part of hypnosis is helping a person get past the critical or analytical state, which is our conscious mind. How do we do that? And how do we know it works? Well, medical science has even determined that hypnotherapy works. In 1958, the American Medical Association and the American Psychological Association recognized the therapy as a valid medical procedure. And since 1995, the National Institutes of Health has recommended hypnotherapy as a treatment for chronic pain. Other conditions for which hypnotherapy is frequently used include anxiety and addiction. How does hypnosis work? We remember things when they happen, and sometimes there's such strong events that there's a behavioral response to the circumstances. Memories stored in our brains hold the original and emotional reactions that occurred when the given memory was first formed. Each time similar events occur again, the physical and emotional reactions attached to the memory are repeated. These reactions may be inappropriate or unhealthy. The hypnotherapist guides the client to remember the event that led to the first reaction, to separate the memory from the learned behavior, and then reconstruct the event with new, healthier associations. Now, sometimes there's what we call a disassociation from reality, where when you're going to be hypnotized or when you are hypnotized, you have to kind of make believe sometimes, or the suspension of belief. Sometimes you may be told something that's different from what you grew up with or what you believe. Like one of the things that was a real shocker to me, we grew up learning that we had to brush our teeth after every meal, right? It's best to brush your teeth after meals. We grew up with that. We learned it. A few months ago, I learned that that's the worst thing you can do for your teeth. Because when you're eating, you're causing the digestion process. In your mouth, there's acidic material, and you need to wait 15 to 30 minutes after you finish eating, or else the acid, you're going to be brushing the enamel off your teeth. That's the scientific reality. So all of my beliefs got suspended, and I don't have to brush after every meal. Now, as to the medical belief or understanding of at least some of the values of hypnotherapy, Medicare in the United States pays hypnotherapists. This is a big surprise. I happen to know one of the gentlemen in the forefront of that movement. Paul Durbin is his name. He's a pastor. He was working in Methodist Hospital in New Orleans, and he is also a retired general of the Army. Brilliant guy. And in his pastoral duties, he was also doing hypnotherapy in the hospital. Well, the hospital got real concerned about this, and they figured that anybody who's doing therapies should be a doctor. They paid for him to get a PhD, so now he's a doctor, doing exactly the same thing. And Medicare, doing this procedure, got to understand and believe, and pays the clinical hypnotherapist at the same rate that they pay brain surgeons. No one gets a higher payment from Medicare than a hypnotherapist. Wow. So it must really work, because as stodgy a thing as a great government organization wouldn't even consider it. Now, in hypnotherapy, every hypnotist or every hypnotherapist has learned much of the same, much that's different, and it's all internalized, and it all comes out according to who we are and what our backgrounds are. So every hypnotherapist does many of the same things differently. And they work to the level of competence, or to the level that it was the right thing to do for the particular client. You know, a woman I met recently, my wife and I were at one of these dinners, and this woman had tried hypnosis and it didn't work. So she thinks that hypnosis can't work. So she told me how this hypnotist did, and he said, you have to have something swinging in front of your eyes. Now close your eyes, imagine you can see the pendulum in front of you. Well, she couldn't imagine a pendulum. The hypnotist didn't know that a different technique was required. And there's a gazillion different ways of hypnotizing people. And you'll see a couple of different types of ways to address hypnosis before I finish. One of them is like this, simply talking. When we listen to the benediction, and we have our feet on the floor, and we close our eyes, and we take a deep breath in and blow it out. Why don't we all do this for just a moment? Put your feet on the floor, close your eyes, and prepare to relax a little bit. Close your eyes, take a deep relaxing breath in, and blow it out, blowing away all those troubles and tensions and all the memories of last week, and blow it out and take another deep relaxing breath and blow it out. And now in such a relaxed state, your mind is a little more open, and you are a little more ready to listen to suggestion, and you are maybe to some degree entering a trance state. Very like trance states happen all the time when you're watching television, or sometimes when you're driving, and oops, wasn't I supposed to get off back there? Or where are my glasses? Where are my keys? Well, you put them where you always put them, but you weren't thinking about that because your mind was kind of drifting. And as your mind kind of drifts, you are in a state in which hypnotherapy can function. Right now, there could be suggestions, and one difference between different types of hypnosis, hypnotherapy, which I'm speaking about today, is different in many ways from the kind of hypnosis we see in stage shows. Now, I've seen stage shows, I've been a subject in stage shows, and they're a lot of fun. Has anyone ever seen a hypnosis stage show? And it was a lot of fun, right? The people are doing goofy things. The reason they're doing it is because they're willing to do it. It's because they're in a nightclub, maybe they're drinking, they're loose, they're feeling good, and when they're given a suggestion, it's kind of goofy. None of them are given a suggestion like you will stand up and take your clothes off, because they won't. But if they're given a suggestion like when I say bathroom, you are suddenly going to need to go to the bathroom. That'll work. And someone can be told when you get to the bathroom, you'll bring back everything that is not attached. And, okay, no big deal. And they can come back really with armloads of paper towels and toilet paper. They couldn't get the soap off the wall. But these things happen simply because they're kind of innocent fun. In clinical hypnotherapy, we ordinarily don't do much in the way of fun things. Mainly what we do is we go into this together with a contract. Our contract is, you are going to tell me what your goals are, what your needs are, and I am going to, while you're in the state of hypnosis, I am going to help you with suggestions that you will use to achieve your goal. Like, for instance, if you wanted to be a non-smoker. Now, the contract we have, you have to be 100% sure of your side. It's not, well, I kind of like to quit smoking because I'm going to die a horrible, painful death if I don't quit smoking. One fellow came to me and he said, if I don't quit smoking, my wife will kill me. I told him, go home and die. What can I do for you? You have to come to me and say, what I want is to be a non-smoker. Now, what I've learned being down here is that the needs for even a simple thing like I want to be a non-smoker can be far more complex than they have been with my ordinary clientele who have been much younger. And younger people don't have so much complexity or so much baggage they're carrying around. And so I tend to set up a series of 3 sessions with people rather than just one for a simple topic. At home, quitting smoking was such a piece of cake. I could have a group sit down, they really want to quit smoking, bingo. Within an hour session, almost everyone will be done. Down here I find that when we're in the session, then we find what else we have to deal with, and so that's why I do set things up in a series of 3. Ordinarily, for most things, except some of the really complex ones like helping somebody stop biting their nails, or where people are grotesquely obese, they can take more time. But for the most part, intervention therapy is what I do. Transformational therapy is what it is coming into the situation at the stage where it is and helping to resolve the issues and achieve the goals. I ordinarily, in the first session, will teach people self-hypnosis and then how to use suggestions for themselves, and so that since it's not really magic, it only seems like it sometimes, people get to reinforce and achieve their goals just by sitting down, closing their eyes, and doing a simple procedure that they learn to get into the state of self-hypnosis, which could take anywhere from 10 to 30 seconds. And they can hypnotize themselves for, say, 5 minutes, and at the end of that period, they bring themselves back to the level of consciousness. And the next thing is the relaxation. That's everyone that I deal with. The relaxation is an important part of what they're doing and how to get into it and what to do with it. Relaxation does a lot for you. Relaxation helps you heal, helps you into a state that you may call rest and digest. Imagine that you got up during the night and then bang, your shin right on the coffee table, let's say, and that hurts. Now, it's not just here when you hit it that there are things happening because you hurt yourself. Now, you go to the bathroom, you come back to bed. You don't need the pain to continue to warn you that table's liable to get you again, because it's not. You know where it is. And so the pain sensation over here that was useful when you hit it, oops, I got a problem. Suddenly you don't have the problem, but your body's still tense. Your body's still tightened up, and this can be a cause of chronic pain, because the inside here, the subconscious, doesn't know the difference. What it knows is, okay, I've got this feeling, I've got this feeling, I've got this feeling, and here's what's going on in my system, and it learns the behavior. The subconscious learns the behavior. Your conscious mind might say, oh, I wish I'd stop hurting. Your subconscious doesn't hear that. The conscious mind can be very aware and say, just like I did, oh, that table's not going to hurt me again. I can stop hurting. But inside it doesn't know that. Inside it doesn't know it can stop what it started. Because all it knows is it's got something going, and so it goes. And what we will do in hypnosis is kind of this suspension of belief. And the conscious mind, of course, is always blocking out any entry to the subconscious. It's very protective and needs to be. And so the conscious mind might see things. They don't get into the subconscious because that gatekeeper in the conscious mind won't allow it. And so we need to allow access to the subconscious mind, which is what we do in the initial stage of the hypnosis. And then your conscious mind is relaxing, observing. You hear everything I say. You know everything I'm talking about, but you're not interfering with it. You're not saying, why is he saying that touching a cigarette would make me feel nauseous, for instance? Well, you're not going to be thinking those thoughts. All the subconscious is going to be learning is that touching a cigarette makes you nauseous. The hypnotist will repeat it a number of times to help the subconscious get the idea. And believe me, I had one client who got so nauseous just thinking about it that we had a wastebasket nearby. Fortunately, she filled it up. It's just, you respond. I had one client here who was fighting against quitting smoking. He just got so upset by the whole process that his stomach was tied up in knots, and so we had to do some relaxation. He didn't quit smoking. He didn't want to, but he was willing to relax. And all my clients will be willing to relax. And also, very commonly, within this series of 3 sessions, I will teach the client the art of overcoming anxiety. Fear and anxiety, overcoming them helps to relax. And what I was saying about that rest and digest state, imagine during the night when you are hopping around, your body is all tight. How you can't heal? It's tense. It's in pain. It's not able to relax. And when you do relax and you're in a position to heal yourself, that's how we do the healing within hypnotherapy. And in reducing fear and anxiety that accompany pain and uncomfortable medical or dental procedures. For example, when used during an operation or before an operation, hypnosis may improve recovery time, decrease anxiety as well as pain. There are clinical trials on burned patients showing that hypnosis decreases pain and speeds healing. Now, this is something I learned about in that first weekend class. Dr. Linda Cooper, who was giving the class, had been in her little MG and got rear-ended, and her car was shoved under the back of a trailer truck. It became an accordion, and her spine was fractured. She had spinal fusion surgery without the use of chemical anesthesia. Self-hypnosis. And it's just amazing. Another thing that was, one thing after another can be amazing, and there are claims made about hypnosis can help with this, with that. Some of the things that we hear are, maybe a little bit difficult to believe. And one of the difficult things having to do with belief per se is in the state of hypnosis, you hear everything I say, you understand everything I say, even though I'm talking to your subconscious, and people, after a session, it's not uncommon that, well, I don't think I was hypnotized. And a fellow like that just this past week, who was a person who was so anxious, so, I mean, he's so tied up in knots, this guy, that the doctors have him on 3 different medications, for muscle relaxing, brain relaxing, this or that. He needs all of them. His only complaint, he can't get enough. And we did one session, at the end of which he wasn't sure he'd been hypnotized. I mean, his mind was a little fuzzy from the drugs, but regardless, the knots in his stomach were untied. He didn't believe, but you don't need to believe, you just need to have a strong desire for a certain goal and be willing to do it. Hypnotherapy for pain is one of my favorite topics, as you can imagine, since I began getting my certifications working with pain, and I've been able to work with many of the really greats in the field. And we say when people come to a hypnotist with chronic pain, ordinarily they've been suffering anywhere from 2 to 6 years. And they've gotten to a point when the drugs just can't do anymore, or they can't give you a large enough dose to get past where you are. Whatever the problem is, with hypnotherapy, there's no side effects. There's no overdose. Listen to this. They quit smoking using this drug, popular drug called Chantix. The FDA has issued a warning for smokers because 72% of the people who use this drug show an increase in heart problems. 72% increase in heart problems. I want to quit smoking and get a heart attack. I don't think so. I don't think so. And so, believing that you're going to go into something that is counter to a lot of what we learned, because we learned about medicine. You get sick, you take a pill, you get better. I learned you get sick, you get a deep rest, then you get better, you get out of bed and go about your business. Some things you don't get better from, they just sit in your system like knots. And those knots in your system, we untie, or we help untie. And helping get over some of the serious problems that can cause this great amount of excess obesity takes a lot of therapy, which is specialized, and I want to talk about at this point. Let me ask if there are any volunteers, anyone who has pain, noticeable chronic. What is your name?
Sarah.
Sarah, would you come up here and join me, please? Have a seat. Now, this is not a medical procedure. There's no medicine involved. There's no conflict with any doctors or medical procedures involved. And all I can tell you is that with a simple procedure, we're going to reduce this pain, and it's going to be simply because Sarah may not need to continue suffering. We're not going to look for causes or reasons or diagnosis, because all we're dealing with is going to be reducing the level of suffering. So let me ask you first, how long have you had this pain? And it interferes with your life? You've tried medical everything. And the pain is... Did I mess something up? Oh, you can't hear her? Oh, true. Okay. Okay, Sarah has had pain since 1992. And on And if you looked at up to number 10, where would you say your
Oh,
pain
I'm
had
sorry, it
reduced?
was 1999.
Oh, 99. Oh, okay, it's only been
11 years.
Okay, and on a scale up to 10, where would you say the pain is now?
Right at this moment,
Right at this
probably
moment.
a 3.
Probably a 3.
But it changes.
Right. Are there things that cause the change, or just happens?
If I lie down and I go to sleep, lying down, if I don't keep my head propped up, I get more pain.
Right. Okay, let me put this down over here. Because nobody needs to listen to any more about your pain, and you don't either. So you feel pain right now. You feel about at a number 3 level.
Well, I use topical
Right, good. And so today you've got it down to around a level of 3. And if you'd like to be hypnotized right now, we'll get ready to go. And I also need to tell you that I'm liable to touch your, from time to time, touch your wrist, your shoulder or something, just so you know and you won't be surprised by it. Okay? So the first thing to do will be to put this back into my belt so I don't blow the whole show here. Okay, next thing, I'd like you to look into my eyes. Look at my eyes. Focus very tightly on my eyes and very, very slowly close your eyes, very slowly. And as they're closed and you're breathing quietly and relaxing, slowly open your eyes, slowly open your eyes, and look into my eyes as you do that. And your eyelids get heavy, because you're relaxing. Every muscle, every nerve in your system is relaxing. And as your eyes relax, the eyelids get heavier because they want to close. Slowly close them again, please. Slowly closing. And now slowly open. And look into my eyes. As you do this, slowly closing your eyes again. And now as you slowly open, you feel your eyelids getting heavier, and it feels like they're getting heavier because they want to close. You feel them flickering because they're trying to close because they know you're going to be hypnotized. Slowly closing them again. And now, as you're in this state, you're about to enter a state of hypnosis when I tell you to sleep now, and immediately you sink into a deep, relaxed state. In this relaxed state, you hear every word I say, you understand everything I say, but you are willing to step outside of your ordinary belief and keeping your eyes closed. Now I want to ask you, look inside yourself, look for the pain. Find the pain within yourself. And the pain has emotion. Pain likes to move. Pain moves, I'm sure you've noticed, some days it's in different places than others. It's like when you're getting into a swimming pool that's so cold and you put your foot in and it's cold and uncomfortable, but you stay for a while and then you're comfortable. The discomfort disappears. Pain doesn't let you disappear, allow it to disappear. It moves and now it hurts somewhere else. And if you can find the pain within you, if you can look within yourself, let me ask you if you can see if the pain has emotion, that it's moving in a certain direction or a certain way. Sometimes pain moves clockwise. Sometimes pain has a form and a color. Can you see any color? No. It's staying in the same place. It has no motion. It has no color. Does it have a form? Is it like a blob? Is it a solid? Is it a mystery? Is the pain a part of your life? Something that happened, and it happened many years ago, and now you'd like to reduce the suffering, you'd like to reduce the effect that it has on your life. Am I right? You would. She said, mm-hmm. And as you just stay relaxed, okay? You're in a very light trance state, which may be no different from how the pain ordinarily has you in a light trance state. And in this light trance state, take another look at your pain. Can you see anything that you can describe, anything you can touch, anything that you can say about the actual pain, and how we can make it smaller, or how we can take it a little out of your system just for a while. Can you see anything inside the pain?
It's related to stress, makes it worse. That's why I moved here.
That's okay. So with less stress, that makes it easier. And with more relaxation, you may find yourself now relaxing a little more. Allow yourself to relax and feel yourself sinking a little deeper, and just a little deeper into your trance state. And as you sink deeper down and deeper and deeper, you're willing to allow the pain to be reduced. You want to help me help you reduce it. I think that's something we can agree on. And the pain, now imagine that you are gaining a little more power over the pain. Just if the pain had a shape, it would be getting smaller. If the pain was moving and maybe traveling in a circular way within itself, you might stop it and change the movement to the other direction. The pain will not, and the pain is accustomed to a certain direction that you're suffering, and if you stop that direction, let it go in a different direction, and it's a different thing now. So you can be more relaxed, and you can always be more relaxed just thinking those simple relaxation words, okay? You can sit down, take a deep breath, and relax. And relax yourself just thinking every muscle, every nerve in my body can relax quietly. And you can relax, and as you do relax, your pain actually gets a little reduced in power, and reduced in its ability to bother you. And it's only for a while. It's not as if the pain's going to disappear or go away altogether, but reducing it just with relaxation is really the best we can do at this point. Now, if you looked at it, would you feel there was any reduction in the actual experience that you're feeling from a 3? Has it reduced at all? Mm-hmm. Okay, well, thank you, Sarah. Mm-hmm. Which is something that always goes on, but it's also something that you can actually reduce your level of suffering simply through relaxation. Mm-hmm. Right. Good. Is there anybody else with pain, maybe a little higher level than a 3?
This was a motorcycle accident about a month ago.
And you've got ongoing pain from that?
Yeah.
On a scale up to 10, where do you think you would find your pain now?
Like 6.5.
Would you like to come up for a minute? Come on. What is your name?
Christian.
Hi, Christian. I'm Mitchell. Please sit down. Okay, now with both feet on the floor, take a deep, relaxing breath in and blow out. Another relaxing breath in, blow it out. Let me ask you, do you have any pain in your neck or upper back? Okay, good. Good. And just relax for a moment. Christian, look into my eyes. Look at me and slowly close your eyes. Now slowly open your eyes. And as you relax, you notice that your eyes are getting heavy because you're so relaxed. Those muscles can barely hold up the eyelids. Try to slowly open your eyes again. And you notice your eyelids fluttering. That fluttering, you're trying to enter the state of hypnosis. As you close your eyes slowly again, I would say sleep now. And immediately you are in your deep, deep sleep state. Sinking deeper and deeper and deeper into a deeply relaxed state of hypnosis. While you were in this state, you were able to relax even further. Feel every muscle and every nerve in your body completely relaxed. Completely relaxed. Every breath brings you deeper and deeper into your relaxed state. And as you sink deeper and deeper, the purpose of this is to reduce the severity and discomfort of your pain. And your pain was at a very high level of 6, 6.5. And as you drift down now into a more relaxed state and a state in which you're healing yourself, as you drift down, the actual level of pain is reduced and reduced. And to reduce it more, let me ask you, looking inside for the pain, see if the pain has a direction of movement. Sometimes it goes clockwise, it might be counterclockwise. Can you see any movement there? It's radial? Red. And this red pain has a shape. Is it like a red like the sun, so it's kind of burning, is it? Taking the heat down and reducing the color and taking some of that pain out is what we're going to be doing right now, because it's red, like the sun burning at you, and the clouds come across the sky and the sun is a little less harsh. The rays don't get through so much, and the color is a little reduced, and the color is going to reduce, because what we're going to do as you sit there is remove the power, reduce the power of the pain, which is being reduced by the clouds in the sky, being reduced by the color being not quite so bright. The red gets a little less and a little less as the sun goes away. Like every day at nightfall, the sun gradually goes away. And imagine in your mind the sun is drifting away. It's setting, and as the sun is setting, it's coming under your power. And now that sun that's there, which is actually setting, is going to drift a little ways out towards from the edge of your body, moving out of your body. And as the pain comes out of your body a little, its power is reduced and reduced. So even after it goes back, there will be less power, less sun, less burning, less redness, simply because it's been reduced. And as it's coming out of your body, coming a little more out of your body, the pain is less, the feeling is less, and for a while it will stay a lot less. And you can, anytime you like, sit down quietly, just like this, with your eyes, and as you're resting with your eyes closed, you can feel your pain diminishing again. The sun is setting. Anytime in your mind you imagine the sun setting, that means that it comes a little more away from you, a little more out of your body, and you are reducing your pain every time you wish to, simply by doing what we've done right now, relaxing and thinking yourself into this. While you're in this relaxed state, the pain gets less, the color is less, and the whole amount of suffering is reduced. It's reduced substantially now and any time in the future that you wish to do that. And now or any time in the future, if I touch you and say sleep now, immediately at that point you're hypnotized and starting in as deep a state as you are right now, which you can do yourself. By sitting down quietly and you say, I'm going to hypnotize myself now. I'm going to count backwards, 3, 2, 1, 0. And at 0, you're in the hypnotic state. You bring yourself into that state just by thinking that it's time to get there, and you get there. And you go in thinking just what you're going to do. While I'm hypnotized, I will relax completely. And while I'm hypnotized, I will think these thoughts. I am relaxed and sinking deeper into my relaxed hypnotic state. And my pain is less. My pain is reduced. And slowly you will continue to help keep your level of pain on a reduced level. And now I'm going to bring you back to the level of consciousness, counting up to 3. When I say 3, you'll be fully conscious again, feeling very well rested, feeling really, really good. You'll feel better than you felt in a long time. as your eyes get open at number 3, you'll be awake, feeling really good, with your pain remaining at a reduced rate. Number 1, you're starting to wake up, your blood's going a little faster, you're breathing a little deeper, your eyelids might start flickering. Number 2, close to the surface. And then when I say 3, you can slowly open your eyes, slowly getting accustomed to this level of consciousness again. Hi. If you looked at the scale right now, where would you find, what number do you think you would find your pain on that scale up to number 10? He said, I'm not feeling much pain right now. And thank you very much, Christian. One thing you may have noticed was I asked on a scale up to 10, where is the pain? In doctors' offices, they may ask you on a scale of 1 to 10, where is your pain? 1 means you'll always have pain. I don't believe you always have to have pain. Now, let me see if there are any questions or anyone else that would like to be hypnotized, but particularly if there's any questions.
We have one here.
Where? Hi.
I have discovered that as a child, if you need to, you can self-hypnotic yourself. When I was a child, I was sent to a dentist, and he practiced with no pain removal, no anesthesia, no drugs of any kind. And at 10 years of age, you feel everything. And I would concentrate on one word in order to be able to get through each session with this miserable dentist. And it was just, oh. And I would keep repeating in my mind, oh, oh, oh. It took too long and too many O's, but I was in self-hypnosis to survive this event each time I had to go.
Right. That's good. And just imagine children, especially the little ones, they believe everything. And so you don't have to get so much past the critical states to be in a state of hypnosis. And that was a wonderful experience, and it stayed with you your whole life. Are there any other questions?
Yeah, Mr. Perey, do you have some books that you could recommend to learn more about online, or websites that someone can go to?
There is a website called hypnothoughts.com, which is a very good source of information. There's also the ACHE website, and there will soon be my website, which is called hypnotherapy.mx, and we're working on that right now.
Other questions?
Sir? Oh.
There seems to be a thin line between meditation and hypnosis. How do you cross that line?
Meditation is a thought process. Transcendental meditation is a beyond thought meditation process. Hypnosis is different. Hypnosis is a trance state, which meditation can also bring. And I really can't imagine how to define any state clearly enough to answer your question. But they're both really good for relaxation, definitely. Sir?
I just wondered, when you hypnotize somebody for pain, does that do anything to eliminate the cause of the pain, or does it just look after the pain itself and the cause, it could keep on coming back?
For the most part, chronic pain, the actual cause for the pain is no more. But the habit of feeling the pain and suffering is what we deal with to reduce that. Hypnosis can also help to resolve conditions which cause pain simply because of the relaxation. In the relaxed state, the more relaxation there is, the better you heal. And so it can help with healing, it can expedite healing simply because the client uses this period of rest to do some healing. And it's a gradual thing, so I always teach self-hypnosis to my clients and encourage them to do it on a daily basis if they can. So they help heal themselves. And it's amazing to what degree, like some things I found hard to believe, particularly allergy elimination. I've heard it, I've heard talks about it, but in May, while I was in Florida for a hypnotherapy conference, we had 2 days courses after the conference on pain relief. And within that session, there was a woman who had flown down just for those 2 days, and she brought up the issue because she has this allergy problem, and one side of her face was all stopped up, had been for about 6 months, and no medication, no way to relieve it. And so even though it was a pain course, they took a few minutes with her and did an allergy elimination process. And 30 minutes later, she says, I could breathe on this side. And it was just amazing to everyone, but I saw it, not just having learned about it, I saw it work in person. And pain relief, anxiety relief, people that before surgery that could be so unnerved that having a hypnosis session beforehand relaxes them. And I've had an opportunity to do that locally as well. Some of the medical tourism kind of organizations are adding hypnosis to the services that they have to offer. And in the U.S., there's a new requirement for medical people and institutions. They don't just check your blood pressure, heart rate, and everything. There's another vital sign they have to look into, which is pain. And they have to address it in the least pharmacological way possible, which is a real shock for modern medicine, that instead of running in with a shot, there's got to be something else to try, and hypnosis is a major something.
Well, are you willing to stay afterwards a little bit if people want to speak
sure.
with you further?
Sure, please come to me with any questions or thoughts. I'll be happy to stay around a while. Thank you.
Next week, our speaker is David Bryan. He spoke to us about 6 months ago, I think, on the 7 petals of the rose, capacities of the maturing soul, but he didn't get through all those petals. And so he's coming back to finish that talk. And he's sharing the next Sunday, the end of it, with a fellow named Jim Trimble, who is going to talk to us briefly about vaudeville for seniors. So bring your tap shoes. So that concludes our session today. Please pick up your coffee cups and stack the chairs by color and style. Thank you for coming. We'll see you next Sunday.